the scientists, the white scientists that took us to China to meet the Chinese, they seem to be that third party looking in, because the Chinese and I, we really got into our discussions.
Like the Western dragon, the Chinese dragon has lethal fangs, impenetrable scales, and bird-like talons. But the Western dragon breathes fire, while the Chinese dragon breathes a heavy mist, known as Shang-Chi, literally the essence of life. The Chinese dragon is wingless, although it can magically fly and soar among the clouds, which is one of the reasons it is so revered by the descendants of the dragon.
My family members, my kids, they love them. There's so many dragons out there to choose from, and I chose the Oriental dragon because of my heritage and for who I am. I am so happy with the end results of the tattooing that I have, with the dragons that I chose. My wife, we grew up together like this. She knew me with the tattoos on, and she married me with the tattoos.
Jimmy Wong's dragons have 3 claws. That's not an accident, nor an artistic choice. It's respectful of millennia-old traditions.
We see dragons with their claws stretched out, and what we usually don't pay attention to is the number of claws, but in the Chinese context, especially in the imperial period of Chinese history, you could actually lose your head if you wore, or if you had a dragon design on with the wrong number of claws. Imperial dragons, the dragons that symbolized imperial might, had 5 claws, and for anybody to have a robe or a depiction of a dragon with 5 claws, who was not the emperor himself, was highly dangerous, to say the least. Members of the imperial clan were allowed to have dragons with 4 claws, senior officials with 3 claws, and the 3-clawed dragon is the one that you see most often in common depictions.
The number of dragon claws also features in the Chinese story of the Japanese dragon. Apparently, the dragon loses claws as it travels. By the time the dragon arrives in Japan, it has only 3 toes remaining. The Japanese interpret the story somewhat differently. They believe the dragon originates in Japan, not China, and gains claws as it travels west. Whichever story you believe, the dragon is an important deity in both countries.
The dragon is perhaps one of the most common divine beings that we find in Japanese mythology and in religious literature. The dragon abides in a wonderful palace at the bottom of the sea. It's a palace full of gems and treasures, and some human beings can be taken to this palace to enjoy a life without time. And this is, for instance, the legend of Urashimataro, a young fisherman who is taken to the dragon palace and marries the dragon king's daughter.
The Dragon King is also credited with fathering the first emperor of Japan. Today, emperors still trace their lineage back 125 generations to that son of a dragon. Dragon images are found everywhere in Japan. One of the most impressive structures is the Rinagi Temple in the city of Nikko. It dates to the 8th century when a powerful shogun, or general, has it covered with dragons to honor his birth in the year of the dragon. Countless carvings embellished in gold.
Probably today, very few Japanese are aware of the religious symbolism of what they see around in shrines of temples. You will see dragons in ponds, or representations of dragons above ponds or about wells, because the dragon was thought to be the god of water.
Because the dragon is a Japanese god, he can do anything, even appear on Earth in living flesh and blood.
I think the Japanese believed that the dragon was some kind of real creature. So he was a god. So in that sense, like all other gods could appear.
But there is more to dragons than religion. When modern science investigates the dragon, it finds dragons are responsible for the survival of the entire human race.